All right, what's up, my beautiful collective? How are you doing? All right, if you guys have been following me for the last couple of weeks, I told you there's three people or three groups, and this just depends on what your situation is. In some of you guys' lives, there's three people that you have to stay away from. But if this is like a reading for a broader group, there's three groups of people I told you that you have to disconnect yourself from. These individuals cannot make moves on their own. There's three groups that cannot do things on their own. And everyone's trying to figure out who they need to detach themselves from. Who are the codependent ones? Who are the ones that break down the stability of everyone else? So if this is at a job, you're trying to figure out which three of these coworkers are causing the problem. If this is a different situation, you're trying to figure out which groups are causing the problems. So there's been a revelation, and this is a really sad revelation because there's one group that you really thought was a successful group, right? This is not a successful group. They've been deceiving people. Nobody's really in love with this second group. They have this image of people are in love with them, but that's not true. And that's how, or this is why you never considered this particular person or this particular group out of the three to be part of the three. Okay. But now you're finding out that a specific group that always looked like they were good news are really bad news. This is a big one. This is a big one. They're bad news. Lots of regrets with this second group. A lot of people are really upset. They're sad. They're just really torn apart because they didn't want this particular group to be part of the three. Okay? But they recognize your gift. They know that you have a very special gift. People are listening to you. They're aware that you know the truth. And you've been doing an investigation and you're finding out who's who. And there's three groups or three people. And we figured out one of them. We figured out one of those groups last week. Now, this week, we found out another group. This is going to be a month of revelation. You're finding out who are the ones that's preventing growth, who you're finding out which ones are stopping things from moving forward. People are emotionally shattered today to find out that this second person or the second group is a part of the three. The people are just flabbergasted. They're so hurt because they waited for things to grow with this group. It's almost like you're like, okay, I'm gonna keep this group in my back pocket. They can't be part of it. They are. Remember, I told you it was three groups or three people. We already know one. We found out one a week and a half ago. And now today we found out the second group, and people are just so emotionally hurt that they're part of the three. I mean, it's like people are living in a nightmare today, like straight up living in a nightmare. And the reason why is because they made major moves with this second group, this second person. Okay. They made major moves for them, and they found out that they were part of the three people or the three groups that create illusions, that do black magic, that um they do things the wrong way. People are stunned. People are stunned. And why ever they're doing this, because there's this energy of them wanting to be smart, or they feel like they're smart, or they feel like black magic will make them smart. We're not really sure. But we found out the second group that doesn't fit. And I'm telling you now, people know the truth today. People know the truth. And it's sad because these people appear to be so stable. They made themselves appear to be so stabilized, like it was that boss that you had that you thought had it all together, and they really don't. There's three groups that are not in control. So if this is a job situation, there's three people that's not going to be the boss. If this is a different situation where it's a bigger situation, you got three groups that just aren't going to be the ones that's going to be controlling things. We found out who one group was a week ago. Now we found out who the second group is. They're in the group together now. And everybody's very clear about that. So now we know these two groups are not going to be in control. That means that they're not getting the position. There's this energy of trying to figure out who is supposed to be the ones to control things, right? And there's three groups that have to be eliminated. One group or one person, we found out about them a week ago. And now we found out the second group. These individuals, they don't have the power to be in control anymore. These are liars. They've created a huge facade. This is a big deal. People in other countries, people in other places, they're recognizing it. They're like, oh my God, they cannot believe it. That now they know the truth. Now they know the truth about these individuals, that these individuals cannot give anybody what they wish for. They can't do it. It's one group we found out about a week ago, and now we found out about a second group. And the sad part about it is we had a lot of faith in this second group. We kind of was hoping they wasn't part of the group, but they are, and it's so sad. So the second group, they're not going to get what they wish for either. So we found out a week ago one person. Now we're finding out a second person or a second group. So we have two groups now that cannot get anyone what they wish for. Two groups. We know who they are. Very clear on who they are. They cannot get anyone what they wish for. So that means that there's two groups that you just pretty much have to drop. Okay? Because they can't. These are two groups. We're trying to figure out who can't hold their weight. And there's three people. If this is a job situation, there's three people that can't hold their weight. If this is a bigger situation, there's three groups that can't hold their weight. And we found out today who that second group is. We have one group and then we have a second group that cannot hold their weight. They cannot give anybody what they wish for. These are not starseeds. They cannot make anything happen. And it's so sad because they appeared to be stable. You was like, oh my God, they're stable. Everybody felt like they knew the truth about these individuals, that these individuals knew the truth. Honey, this is just another misfit. This is just another individual, another group that do not fit. And this is sad because they made themselves look like they were so freaking smart. But you found out that this second group or this second person is the reason why everyone is living in a nightmare. You can wait for things to grow with these people if you want to. I told you it's three groups. You can wait for things to grow with them if you want to, but you'll be taking action without thinking. I'm trying to tell you the truth. They think they have a hidden talent. These three candidates, they all think they got hidden talents, right? We found out what the first group's hidden talent was: black magic, creating illusions, and lying. And that's the same gift that the second group has as well. People have a lot of regrets with this second group. I mean, it's getting out of hand. People are so tired of them. So now it's time for the second group to be judged. Now they found out that, hey, we really can't be in love with the first group or the first person or the second person. This is the second connection that's been broken. And the reason why there's been two people or two groups where the connection is broken is because they're deceptive individuals. And because they're deceptive individuals, people are not going to invest in them anymore. They're going to detach from them. These individuals are slow. They lost a lot of friends today. And it is going to cause a lot of conflict because people aren't going to want to work with them. I told you it's 3 groups. We found out who 2 is. There's one more. There's one more. And this 3rd group, they're watching. They're seeing what the other 2 groups are doing. And so in order for them to have victory and success, they're choosing to try to stay balanced out. So it's a 3rd group that knows that, oh my God, they're going to figure out who we are. But this group have been paying attention to the groups before them. So this 3rd group, they're balancing out because they know they're the last group. And so once people realize who this 3rd group is, they're going to end up doing the ultimate betrayal to the 3rd person. That means it's all 3 of them are going to be gone. See, this 3rd group also knows people aren't in love with them either. And so as we move forward, we're trying to find out who is the 3rd wheel, who is that 3rd group that causes the bad luck. We want to know, everybody wants to know who the emotionally codependent people are. Now, why they want to know that, I'm going to keep that to myself. But when people are codependent on you, that's not a good thing. That's taking action without thinking. People aren't emotionally fulfilled by people that's always depending on them. The 3rd group is going just. There's a 3rd group, and they're also smart as well. So they're thinking they better go just because they don't want to be in a position where they can't take care of themselves. So they watch what the first 2 groups have done. See, they were smart. They sat back and they watched and observed what the first 2 groups did. And they're moving on. They're like, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to fit with those other 2. We're going to find out who this 3rd soul tribe is. The thing about this 3rd person or this 3rd group, they're being smart. They're choosing not to take any kind of crazy actions. Because, see, they watched the first 2 groups, and now they know the truth. So the 3rd group, they going to lay back. They ain't going to fool with nobody. The 3rd group is going to stay stable. They're going to go home. They're going to mind their own business. They're going to think of other things to do because they know if they ever become a part of that circle, they'll lose their ability to control situations. They saw what happened to the first 2 groups. So the 3rd group is trying to play it smart, or the 3rd person is trying to play it smart by dropping it because they see what happened to the first 2 groups or the first 2 people. They see that nobody wants to give to these first 2. And this 3rd group, they're like, I don't want to go through any kind of adversity. I'll be taking action without thinking. This 3rd group is having a tower moment, right? Because they're also emotionally codependent, but they have a lot of regrets and they're tired. And they see who the other 2 groups are. And the ultimate betrayal has been done with the other 2 individuals. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of jealousy towards this 3rd group because the 3rd group, they're like, I'm just going to move on. I don't want to be a part of this 3rd wheel. Like they don't want to be associated as that 3rd person or as that 3rd group. I'm telling you, lots of conflict going on because once they find out who's who in these groups or who these 3 individuals are, when they find out who they are, they stop investing in them because it's something deceptive I told you about 3 particular people or 3 groups. So the 3rd group is choosing to balance out and they're finding different ways to get victory and success. So the 3rd group is playing it smart because they saw what happened to the first 2 groups. The first 2 groups and the first 2 individuals, they're in the group together. That's why they have to get victory and success for each other. Man, these 2 groups are beat down. But we know who they are. These are the emotionally codependent ones. We wanted to know who they are. We wanted to know who was causing the stability problems. We needed to know who was making things slow. We needed to know. All right. That's what I have for you guys. I hope it helped. We know who 2 are. It's 1 more. We'll see you in the next one. Namaste.